All right, today's rehab session is to teach you how to properly release your glutes using a foam roller. Now, if your glutes are really tight and your glute stretching like this sort of stuff isn't really doing anything for you, you still feel like it's really stiff, maybe you've got some pain in there that's affecting your back and stopping you bending forward because you're so tight, then this may help you quite a bit because it does a pressure release pretty similar to what we do in the clinic, getting our elbows and hands into glutes to try and manually loosen the tissues off rather than just stretching them longitudinally. Now, what I mean by glutes is mostly glute med and min. When you think of the tightness that you're going to release the roller, that is just below your pelvis, so sitting just below your pelvis in here is usually your glute med and min. All right, I'm going to do a little bit of max as well. And if you can release that properly, it's going to reduce the tension in your hips, which is most likely going to help you with your back. So this roller here is a large one. You can have a short one, you can even have a skinny one. It doesn't really matter, as long as the density is pretty hard. You may want to go for a flat one because the ones with the little bobbles in them are just a bit too brittle. If you do have one of those, wrap it in a towel, easy peasy. What you do with this is you go and sit on it to start with. Okay, now if I'm going to show you my left side as an example. You sit on it and put your hands back in that resting position. Now you're going to be on this for about 5 minutes, all right? So you need to make sure that your hands here can tolerate it with your shoulders. If I'm going to do my left hand side, I'm going to put my left leg up on my right knee, okay? Crossover, sort of the same position as you would do with a glute stretch, all right? Now, the position here is crucial. I don't want you up on the bone, so just find where the bony part of the back of your pelvis is, okay? Sit around where your sacrum, you're not gonna go on that, all right? You don't want to be so far down that you're on your sit bones way back here, all right? You can feel that sort of sit bone pain there. You wanna be mostly halfway in between. Now, most people will get this point and feel nothing, all right? The trick is, once you've crossed your leg over, I want you then, if it's your left side, you're going to roll your whole pelvis to the left, okay? So you think of, if I've sort of balanced left and right, I'm now going to go over onto the left-hand side. Now, some of you immediately will go, oh my God, I can feel that straight away. What you want to aim for is to try and find at least the first bit of tightness there. And it might be sort of good pain, like a trigger point pain. And what you're going to do is just sit in there and try and find a spot that is the worst part, if you like. Okay, and go for that first. And all you'll have to do is, if you can see me here, see I'm just going back and forth, but I'm staying in one position. I'm not going back and forth like this, all right? I'm going over, staying in that position where it hurts, good pain, remember, and then going back and forth. What I'm doing is going over the pain. So if I'm here, there's no pain, I come back, there I hit it, and then I go past it, all right? So I'm just pushing through back and forth. Now that's the sort of pressure on, pressure off. Some people just stay there and they can tolerate it. I recommend, if you're starting off with this stuff so you don't cause too much pain and irritation, is you go through the tight tissue and back, which is similar to like a massage, right? The amount of intensity is about how far over you go. So think of like this as your volume dial. All right, so some people might hit the pain straight away, okay? Other people have to really get into it and get stuck in and put a lot of their body weight over on it. All you're doing is taking weight off the right-hand side, say 50-50, and increasing it more like 60%, 70%, maybe you go to 80 or whatever, to 100 to get enough pressure through. So some people have not many trigger points through their tissues, they don't feel too tight, they have to really get stuck in and get into it. Now, what you can do is then hunt around. Once you've done one area, like I said, you go for the worst area, right? You may find you have to get right down almost off it and then get right over. So you get very lateral on that glute med, and then you can almost get into a bit of glute max as you drop down, okay? So you get to the point where you're starting to hit glute max. Just be careful you're not going straight onto that graded trochanter. Okay, so you're just being off that graded trochanter, which is that bony point on the outside of your hip, right? And then come through. What you might have to do to get max is come down a bit. Remember, the max sort of goes a little bit lower than your med, so you might come down a bit further. You'll end up starting getting towards piriformis as well, which some people might like doing, but focus on the maximus part. You may even come back here and then drop back this way. Just don't obviously go so far that you come right off it onto the ischial tuberosity. So working on, like I said, the most benefit or the most amount of effectiveness you'll get out of this roller is on your glute med and min. And like I said, you're going to sit there for 5 minutes at least, just working on trying to almost think of a roller that you're going to roll out some dough. You're just pancaking this out and trying to release that. Once you've done 5 minutes of that, straight into the other side, work on the other side, do that for 5 minutes. You may find when you come back to, just check out the other side again. You don't have to do another 5 minutes, but check out the other side again. Once it's had a rest for 5 minutes and recovered, how much of that release can you feel? Can you feel the benefit of it? Okay, that's loosened off a bit. I can feel that's not as sore. You'll probably find that generally the muscle tissue will be looser. So when you go into your stretch after doing that, when you go back into here, you'll probably feel like that's a lot easier. You'll also probably find that your flexion bending forward in your lumbar spine, so say when you are going into this position here, after you've done the release, when you go forward into here, you're a little bit looser because you're freer through here. So it does have a decent application for when you're trying to release yourself into flexion. Some of you might have a bit of back pain that you're struggling with the flexion part. It's not a disc-related thing, it's just that you're so tight. You can probably find that this actually helps as part of the componentry to try and improve your flexion going forward. It certainly helps with me. So that's it, pretty simple stuff, but super effective. So if you're struggling with your glute stretching and you've still got tightness through the glute meds, maybe because they're a bit weak or they're overused, get into the roller, but spend some time on it. Like I said, 5 minutes at least each side, as many days a week as you need it. I would try and go for, though, at least 3 times. So day on, day off. You may find every day throughout the week is too much. Give yourself a rest period, then attack it the next day. Hope that helps. I'll see you next time.